saved the day. Man, I'm just going to tell this. It's a really interesting story. This one night, like I said, is a 4-day event. This one gentleman who I now come to know is on the dark, 7 Lords of Darkness. He came up to me and he said, I had a dream that had everything to do with you last night. And we're going to reenact it tomorrow because once a dream is proven to be true, at a Sundance, he said, there was this gentleman in his dream that showed up for real at the Sundance. He was there. He told me who he was. I said, oh, that's interesting. He said, because he's here, we're going to reenact this dream that had everything to do with you tomorrow. And he was so excited. And I said, what's it about? He goes, I can't tell you that. It'll take away from the energy. So I'm like, well, that's freaking weird. These Sundances have been going on for 27,000 years. The thought that they were doing some reenactment of a dream that had something to do with me struck me very odd, you know. So the next day, I don't know how to tell this, like, without jumping back and forth in time, but the truth of the matter is, in this dream that I found out later, my friend who was sundancing for the very first time entered and he collapsed. And because he was laying there and pretty much dying, in the dream, I entered their marked off ground. Like, it's marked off at there. Like, when you enter this, you're in their realm. And I entered the circle, the dark circle, to help my friend. And then I ended up hanging from the tree, or the cross, or however you want to put it. And it was a tree in this instance. But, so what had happened in reality is that dark Sikh guy, we'll call him, he went to my friend in reality and told him to fake passing out. And my friend just didn't even ask why, you know, oh, okay, you know. Here, it almost made the dream come true. He passed out there, and what's really fascinating about this is I was responding to total illusion. It wasn't even real. But after about 10 minutes of him laying there like a rag doll, I knew at that point it was all bullshit anyhow. It wasn't even necessary. And here my friend is, like, needing help. And at this point, the other Sundancers came and grabbed him and pulled him to the tree and started beginning to tie him to the tree. And at that point, I physically stood up and, you know, excuse my language out, but I said, I will tear this effing place apart.
Yeah. I
will not sit here on my watch. And I was going in. And at that time, this grandmother almost tackled me. Like, her eyes were so big, and she handed me a glass of water. And she said, drink for him. And for some reason, I got the message, and I did. And really, truly, keep in mind, there was nothing wrong. My friend was asked a fake passing out. So I was responding to illusion as if it was real. She saved the day, and after I got done drinking one glass of water, she handed me another. And you need to know, too, because these people, the Sundancers, don't drink anything for 4 days, all of their families that are there as supporters are told when you eat and drink, send those nutrients through your mind to your loved ones because they're not drinking. That'll keep them sustained. So I knew the concept anyhow of drinking for them,
yeah.
But I really believe at this instance it was just her running interference. I was told actually that's how time travel works for the Anunnaki is they'll send someone in to change a timeline in an event where it happens. So as it all worked out, after I got done drinking that second glass of water, I was going in again. I went, and if he was still laying there, I would have thrown him over my shoulder. But when I got there, he was back up and dancing, you know, full of energy, and so there was no need to enter. So that didn't happen, but it came damn close. So afterwards, what's interesting is that morning, you know, my brother-in-law, he's sitting next to me, and he said, Michael, if you enter that circle, you're going to be laying on the ground in a fetal position, crying out for your mama. You're going to have your thumb in your mouth. You'll have the cleanest thumb of anybody at this whole place. He knew that they were setting me up to fail. He was giving me as much brotherly love as he could in the instance to give me the straight dope. Like, if you enter that circle, you are going to get manhandled and have pins stuck through your flesh and be hanging from that tree, just so you know. And I would have. So he said, what you experience, he said, the trickiest way that the dark half gets you to enter their territory is through love and compassion. He said, the truth of the matter is, if someone's entered that circle out of their own free will, the only thing that can bring them out is themselves. They have to use their own free will to remove themselves from the circle. He said, you entering that circle to help someone that entered the circle of their own free will is kind of like coming up to someone drowning in quicksand and thinking the way to help them is to jump in with them. And no, you got to stand on your own solid ground and reach out a helping hand or throw out a rope or whatever. I got the analogy, but yeah, they almost tricked me. But I gotta say this too, just to end the story. You know, that's the dark test you to see if they can get you to take the bait of these dangling carrots that they're putting in front of you. But the light, it's almost a flip of it. The seven lords of light will test you to see how much love and compassion you bring to any suffering that comes your way. So this was interesting because as this was all going on, the chief said, Michael, we're controlling those drummers' beats per minute and rhythmic patterns to induce altered states of consciousness that make them more susceptible to this mind control going on. And I did notice that it's like people that decided to do this is almost like a virus trying to get other people to do it.
Yeah.
It was kind of scary in a weird way. It was like, you know, a weird freaking movie or something. But because the mind control was trying to, well, one of the mind control things he told me was they're brainwashed to never pray for rain. Because in their mind, they need to suffer as much as possible, and they need the heat. And the reason that in particular is a key thing for the mind control to never pray for rain, because it's also passing both sides with one, how can I say this? If one individual shows enough compassion for their brothers and sisters to pray for rain, not only did they not succumb to the Illuminati mind programming, but they showed love and compassion by praying for rain to alleviate their loved ones' suffering, that they got an automatic, the game's over. You got the approval of the seven lords of light, and you didn't succumb to the dark. So the veil drops at that point. And just like in the past, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth says that once he got through the veil, that the veil of darkness had to fall away. And the same way with King Solomon, said that once he went through this process and he passed, that in quotes, the demons, the dark side, had to do his bidding. And it was said that they built the King Solomon's temple. The dark did. I can tell you, Abraham is a story of someone who failed being brought before this council. The end of the second night, it was so hot. It was brutally hot. I was trying to find shade just to stand under, and here my friends are out there, like, marching in this brutal heat all day long, no food, no water, that at the end of the second day, I verbally out loud prayed for rain. I said, please bring rain, to alleviate the suffering. And do you know that night, me and a buddy were out on the dirt road outside Sundance grounds, way off, this was in Iowa, way off in the horizon, because it's so flat there. There was not a cloud in the sky, but this one little circular, super condensed storm was way off in the horizon. It looked like something from, Independence Day, like a Hollywood movie. It was so filled with lightning, and I just said, that looks like it's coming this way. And so, you're not allowed to. You gotta be up and like supporting the whole time. It was really late, so we thought, well, if it's gonna be here, it'll be here in a few hours. So I went to bed. Sure enough, about 5 o'clock, that storm pulled right over top of the Sundance grounds and unleashed the most divine rain I've ever experienced. It was like a wall of water, and there was a lot of Illuminati presence at this ceremony. They made it clear the first 2 days. There was such a weird, funky energy in the air. The next morning, instead of being 100 degrees, it was like 80 degrees. And it was like this mist held in the air, and it just felt so beautiful. And not only that, it was like all the funky vibes were gone out of the air, too. It just blessed the whole thing. And because, like I said, once someone prayed for rain anyhow, then this whole experiment is over, that once one person does it. So it's really interesting because, like I said, the chief is the only one who has a seat on both sides, light and dark. So that morning he came out and he went up to every Sundancer. He was like confronting them. Did you pray for rain? No, Chief, I didn't pray for rain. He'd go to the next one. Did you pray for rain? No, Chief, I didn't pray for rain. He went around and asked about, 10 of the Sundancers. When he got where I could see him eye to eye, I said, Chief, I prayed for rain. Mind you, at this point, I didn't know it was against the rules. You know what I mean? I said, I prayed for rain. I got out and danced in it. Did you? It felt wonderful. And he looked at me and said, Michael prayed for rain. And he walked away, and that's all he said. He knew what was up then. But it was interesting because they told me once I left, I would start to understand and see clear evidence that the dark has lost their holding the grips, the reins of this reality. And I can tell you, I can go through examples of that being the case. That one big one is China going to a new gold-backed currency, not accepting U.S. Federal Reserve notes to it or from it. That's cutting off the head of the Illuminati. People in the United States doesn't even know that right now, and Russia is now following suit. Within a very short amount of time, the U.S. dollar is going to be worthless worldwide. And, that's how these black projects fund themselves. They just print up monopoly money, So we're in for some serious changes. But, man, this just gets so intertwined. But so now we know that this Nephilim bloodline that came on board in Atlantis, came to help, became known as the mound builders, further down the timeline, intertwined into the Native American Indians. But now once you look into how the United States, Amaru means serpent, and Ka is land of, so America is land of the serpent. And the serpent is, I think it's called the Brotherhood of the Snake originally, and it was very benevolent. And then it was infiltrated further down the line because it seems like the dark intertwined into everything, but because we let it. So our founding forefathers, George Washington, I'm talking ours, like United States, like Canada, I know it's a whole different story. But, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, they went to the Seneca to base this experiment of we the people, because this isn't, we the people, democracy is not the English way. They learned from the Seneca, who now, mind you, they are the Nephilim. They are the Holy Grail bloodline. And to me, I see the United States as the final culmination of that experiment put by the Anunnaki back 27,000 years ago. This is the final act of the experiment of we will bring this new experiment of freedom and democracy, and it's all sides go to the sidelines and see what humanity does with it. And I gotta say, we came very close to failing. And so what's really interesting, I don't know if you know this, but the Seneca, my people, we still own our own land in New York, Salamanca, where Niagara Falls is.
Yep.
It's the only city not owned by the United States. It's leased to the United States. And I found out, too, that treaty was up in, I think, 1999, and they either had to give Niagara Falls and Salamanca back to Seneca or rewrite the treaty. At that point, it was $80 million the United States paid to the Seneca to still lease that land, and every year it's $800,000, I believe, is the amount that is still goes to the Seneca to keep that land. And as you drive through New York to go into Niagara Falls, you'll go past a big sign that says you've now left New York, the state of New York, the United States. You're under Seneca law and provision. So first of all, Templars brought this bloodline here. They're the ones that were in King Solomon's temple and took the treasure anyhow. I have it under good authority where that money is, and it was put aside to free us from the oil and banking cabal, and I'm sure it's with Seneca. But somewhere along the line, I really think someone knows exactly who the mound builders are, being this lost tribe, and there's, from higher levels, I think that there's a lot of respect. But what I can tell you is, so there's already treaties on the books right now that say Seneca own their own land. What was kept out of that discussion and kept hidden was their own homeland, their own home base, which is Eastlake, Ohio. The truth of the matter is, Eastlake, Ohio, my old town, has never been truly a part of the United States. I know it's crazy, but like when you go to Salamanca, people don't pay sales tax, they don't pay income tax. It's a whole different system for even people in the United States who live in that area. So at the least, people in Eastlake, Ohio should be under those same benefits. But I've been working with some Iroquois lawyers, and they say what people don't understand, there's a lot of treaties that have names on these treaties like Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin, George Washington. And these treaties specifically state that anyone that has a drop of Native American Indian blood do not pay income tax, they're under their own governance. So this is all going to culminate to the part of the story that I want to tell you is, about a year ago, I was contacted by a gentleman from the Smithsonian, and he said, I see that you tracked down, the mound builders to Eastlake, Ohio. He said, do you know that there's still an intact ancient earthwork there? I said, no. I was raised there. No one in that area knows anything about it. Well, sure enough, he tells me where to go and find it, and he tells me he was part of archaeological dig from the Smithsonian there in the 1970s. And there was a few artifacts that were removed from that mound that now sit in the Eastlake Willoughby Indian Museum that tie it to ancient Sumer. So I'm all ears, where is it? So he specifically tells me how to go and find it. Sure enough, first of all, it's freaking massive. It takes over 1 mile to walk around it. It's that big. And it's been kept in pristine condition. It's not been pilfered. No one even knows it's really there. It kind of blows my mind. But if you go to Chagrin River Park, it's a state park. It says right on the front of that website, when you scroll down, this was the site of the Eastlake Indian culture, and that much pottery and arrowheads and whatnot were found there. And that's the only mention of it, though. It doesn't say when you go there, you don't even know. Most people think it's just a big mound of dirt. But the fact of the matter is, I went to the museum now, and I've actually got this little old lady curator. By the way, in this same area, 10 minutes away in Kirtland, Ohio, is the first Mormon temple. And I'm not Mormon either, but as it turns out, the Book of Mormon, I was told by the NSA people that if you don't look at it as a religious text, but look at it as the most accurate history book that's never been messed with by the Vatican, it's more like it. Wow. It truly tells the exodus of, the lost tribe of Israel coming and intertwining into the Native American Indians. It's all there. But so this lady curator tells me, it's really strange because Mormons send people worldwide to go to this first Mormon temple in Kirtland, Ohio, built by Joseph Smith himself. But they also tell people to go to the Willoughby Eastlake Indian Museum to see actual artifacts from the lost tribe of Israel. So what's really exciting with all of this is the artifacts are there. I asked the museum lady curator. She actually took them out of the display and let me hold them in my hands and take photos of them. And it's the first depiction of what's called the Morning Star. This four-pointed star. It's like a compass, but it also gets into the Native American Indian medicine wheel is another depiction of the Morning Star. But back in Samaria, Enki is holding a big sphere with that Morning Star inside the sphere with, humans coming up to him. So I'm really excited because I've been working with Serpent Mound in Ohio and the people involved with that. And Thomas Johnson, who is an expert on the mound, and he's been on History Channel as well. I was just there for the eclipse. And by the way, if you want to check this out, we had over 1,000 people with the Native American Indian elders at Serpent Mound, and NPR came there and actually videoed it, and it was really cool. But make a long story short, Thomas Johnson told me that he's working with a team of scientists who have, his own words were, fourth-dimensional ground-penetrating radar that sometime this year I'm going to be bringing them to this mound and be able to go over it and see exactly what's buried there. So it's all exciting things of revealing who, because here's the deal. Everything that I've been told is this was home base, Eastlake, Ohio. That's where the mound builders were, and it was a whole, it's just not one site there. The whole place was a metropolis, kind of like Cahokia in St. Louis. There's many different mounds and sites there. And lots about to be revealed, and that's what's interesting is when I met with Graham Hancock, I took him actual photographs of the street names, incorporating what happened to the lost station. He got it instantly. He's like, oh my God, someone was trying to erase this information from our history books, someone was recording it right in the actual street names and layout. It's like they left a treasure map physically right in the area, But what people don't know is the connection between that Eastlake mound site, the Seneca, and the Seminole in Florida, and the connection to the Peacemaker saga and the Anunnaki. It's all intertwined,
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yes, indeed. I think so, too. It's fun, But, by the way, that's where me and, by the way, okay, I just told you about the praying for rain and, bringing in the rainstorm.
Yeah.
Now fast forward to this Serpent Mound eclipse event. Well, Thomas Johnson comes out at the whole place with presenters and speeches and whatnot. There's about, 5 5 minutes away from the Serpent Mound. It's called Woodland Altars. And there's vendors and, all kinds of tents set up. And Thomas comes out. We just got word there's a huge storm coming in, 80-mile-an-hour winds. We suggest take down your your canopies or whatever. And so I brought my PA system to use for there was a music festival going on as well and stuff. And at this point, Chief was walking by me, and I go, Chief, what do you think? I'm thinking about pulling this PA system back to the back of the stage. But I'm thinking, why not just wait and see what happens? And if it starts getting bad, I'll do it then. He looks at me and he goes, I'm doing my Chief impersonation. Michael, you and I can part the clouds. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, 10 minutes later, Thomas Johnson comes out and says, we just experienced a Serpent Mound miracle. He said they showed on the news, and I guess this happens sometimes because Serpent Mound is right on a 5-mile wide crater of a meteor impact that was there. And because of that, there's a lot of weather that's really strange that happens there, and weird energy that comes up from the earth, and like GPS is just crazy in that area. Well, what happened was, after he said, Michael, you and I can part the clouds, that storm took a 90-degree turn, and we never got a cloud once, but at Serpent Mound, it was raining cats and dogs, So I thought that was really interesting, because I wasn't focusing on anything like that. So he was leading what was called the snake dance, and it's a Native American Indian thing where they'll just line up boy, girl, everyone that's there. And so as it would happen, some people got shuffled around, and all of a sudden, right in front of me is like the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. And my heart just I never experienced anything like it. It was like truly love at first sight. But right when she was in front of me, Chief, I was 2 people away from the Chief, and he looks at me and goes, Michael, you in love yet? And I was like, yeah, I think I am. And sure enough, that's why I'm in Florida right now. I moved here to be with her, and we're in the middle of 7 acres. It's beautiful, untamed Florida wilderness here. Wow. It was supposed to be a big cat sanctuary, and so I feel it was truly a blessing. And there's a lot more to that story, because she is a Native American Indian herself, and she is a chief of a faction of the Seminole. And when I said the Peacemaker story is happening all over again, I wasn't just whistling Dixie. It's like she is that chief from the past that when the Peacemaker in her, it's never said how she changed polarity and came into the fold and why. Now we know the Peacemaker even back then went and married her. Yeah. It's not how people know the story now, but it's happening all over again.
Wow.
And it's interesting too, because talking about the bloodline and stuff, her name's Sarah. We'll just leave it at that. It's not coincidence. She's got a huge Florida Delete tattoo on her back too. Like, really? Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, she's awesome. I feel blessed to even know her. She's so intelligent.
Wow, beautiful.
Her Native American Indian name is Rainbow Feather Two Spirits, and I was just given my Native American Indian name by the elders, which was Rainbow Warrior Eagle.
Wow.
That's an interesting story there too. I'll just tell you real quick. Is after the Sundance and all that, one of the grandmothers came up to me and she said, you'll be getting your name, and you are the rainbow we've been waiting for. She went on to say, people won't know what a rainbow designation for Native American Indians is. She said that the 7 chakras of the human body, when they're cleared and balanced, they emit color, they emit light, and it's the colors of the rainbow, from red in the root to purple in the crown. And she said that those of them that have the gift of sight that those individuals that have cleared their chakras have become the whirling rainbow, which is a part of the whirling rainbow prophecy. So, truly, I found out Tibetan monks had the same kind of ideology of obtaining a rainbow body, because no matter who you are, if you are sensitive to being able to see energy, when you come across any person, it doesn't matter male, female, what religion, if they've done the homework and they've cleaned their chakras, they will emit the rainbow. And so really, that's what I'm here to do as well, is to put a new system of learning out there of no one's admitted. It's no matter, it's no religion, no specific creed or color or race. It's anyone can clear their chakras. It's the whole point. So there's a whole bunch of learning tools coming down the pike, to help clear and balance chakras. But that could be for another time. But have you ever heard of the Heart Math Institute by any chance?
Not me. I don't know about Desta.
Desta?
Yes, of course I have.
Oh, right on. Do you know that is an offshoot of A.R. Borden's, the NSA group? They told me, because part of when I was brought into the fold, we received results from the Heart Math Institute. They said that A.R. Borden himself said that they found out that the heart had a much bigger electromagnetic field in the brain, and they wanted to know what effect. So that was the beginning of Heart Math. But Heart Math, until very recently, from higher levels, was not given the green light to release some of their technology to the public. Instant biofeedback loops to see what your heart rate's doing, and ways of, centering yourself and whatnot. Well, I can tell you that I'm in contact with some higher ups with that, and they've got the green light now of, Heart Math is going to be a big part of the learning system that's going to be introduced to humanity very soon. So I'm glad you'll have to tell Grant all about it. So it's really good stuff, Grant. You'll like it.